So this is part 3 of the story of how I was assaulted by a star football player in college. We had been in a relationship for a little bit over a year or so, give or take. We had broken up over Christmas break, and he assaulted me when another guy called my phone while he was in the apartment to get his stuff. Well, in the last part, I told you about how he had been locked up overnight. And in the morning, we got a knock on our door. And not only was it the football player, the guy who assaulted me, who I was in a relationship with for over a year, but it was also 2 or 3 of the football coaches. So at this point in time, I had not told anybody else what had happened. Like, my parents don't know what's going on. They're on a business trip with my mom. My mom and dad are out of town. So I haven't told anybody what's going on. I'm kind of scared too. Like, I don't know what's going on through my mind. Like, I don't know what's happening. Like I said, I don't know anybody who has went through a situation like this at all. So when we opened the door and we let, the football coaches, along with this young man that has assaulted me just the night before, we opened up the door and they explained to us that he had left some items, most importantly, the money that he needed to register for classes for that semester so he'd be eligible to play. And they were going to walk with him back to my room so that he could retrieve his items so that he could register for classes and that he would be eligible to play. And they told me that it would only take, a few minutes, and they would watch him and make sure that nothing happened. But he needed his money and his items, and it was a very important for them to make sure that he was able to play. So at this point, I don't know what to say. I'm standing there with my face all bruised up. You could clearly see signs of distress in the apartment. We haven't cleaned up or anything. And here the football coaches are, giving us directions that we're going to let this guy in your apartment and we're going to let him go through your things. So, we let them in. It's just us, 3 young ladies and then 3 or 4 of them, because it was like 2 or 3 coaches, plus the guy who had assaulted me and tore up my apartment. At this point, we just step aside and we let them go do what it is that they came to do. So they walk past me with my face all bruised up and, you know, crying at this point because I'm pretty scared. They walk past me, go down the hallway, and go into my room. And they let this guy rummage through my things so that he could get the money that he needed so that he could register for classes. 2 of the coaches stayed in the living room area with me while he was able to go and do this for my safety. While another coach and him were in my room so he could look for his things. And keep in mind, we had not done any cleaning. We had not really done anything with the damage that he had done the night before. Everything was still there and in its place. So they could see the damage that he had done. The walls are covered in food and drink and whatever else that he could find to do damage. My computer screen is broken. There's pieces of cell phones and paper and all that type of stuff all over the room. And they just literally stepped over all that stuff so that he could get his stuff so that he could register for classes. Because at the end of the day, again, he was a star football player and they had a game that Friday and they wanted to make sure that he could register for classes so that he would be eligible to play. Now, this is something that happened that really kind of made me wake up about the situation. When he was done getting his stuff out of my apartment and they were ready to leave. They walked him out of my room and out of the apartment and out of the front door. But it was this one thing that made me realize that, oh my God, you are way over your head here. Like, this just wasn't an issue between me and him at this point. I was about to have an issue with the entire football department. I'll tell you exactly what that was in part 4.